Okay, so great stuff. I'm in now. I'm just going to give us a few minutes for probably give us another 5 minutes for you to first those who were attending live to show up. And we're going to have it's going to be 2 hours. It's going to be a long one, but it's going to be a hugely important one as we cover core things that would really help us to achieve what it is we want to achieve here on this cash flow product system program. So for those of us who are here, what I'm going to cover today in this order. But having said that, if you do have questions, I'm really going to make sure I answer every single question that's answered here this morning. I'm going to, okay, some strange thing just happening to my computer. Okay, don't worry. Okay, great. I apologize for that. That was my calendar coming up. So let's just close this so it doesn't get in the way again. Okay, that freaked me out a little bit. I wasn't expecting that. Something just popped up on my screen. Yes, so what we're going to be looking at, first of all, the first thing we're going to look at is a question that came up, which is a very important one. So we are going to cover that. And that is, what am I going to give away? What is the program? What am I going to be offering? And how am I going to package it? So I'm going to be covering that. And the second thing we're going to be looking at how to promote your event. So how do I promote my event? How do I ensure I get as many people as possible show up for my event? So we're going to be covering that. And the third thing we're going to be looking at is the running the event itself. So structuring your webinar and then running your webinar. I'll run through that again very quickly because I'm not sure if my computer froze or not. The first thing we're going to look at is your offer. How do you package, what are you going to give away? What are you going to sell? For some of you, you probably already have it. And if you don't, I'll just quickly guide you around how to put your offer together, and literally just guide you to how you're going to create it very, very quickly. Then we're going to go into, the second thing we're going to go into is we're going to go into structuring, promoting your webinar. So how are you going to promote your webinar to get as many people as possible show up, register and then show up? You're looking at registrations and you're also looking at attendance, okay? So how do I get as many people as possible register, and how do I get as many people as possible to show up? Okay, and the third thing is running the webinar itself, the structuring of the webinar, and making sure you get it right so you can get the maximum number of sales. Every single question you ask here this morning, I'm going to answer every single one without fail. So if you do have any questions and you're in the room, you can just go ahead and type them in now. As we go through this, if you do have questions, that's fine. Ask those questions and we'll get them answered. But we'll just wait another 3 minutes just to see if there's anybody else who wants to join us live. Those who are not here, who sent in their questions, will get value. But those who are here will definitely get the most value, simply because if you ask any questions which are pertinent to you and what it is you're looking to do, I'm going to answer those questions in the here and now. So I'm expecting we'll probably have about half of us show up and the other half will be getting the replay. Whatever the case, everybody's going to get great value. Okay, so quick question. How are we getting on, and have you set a date for your webinar? If you set it, first of all, share with me just how you're getting on. So in the chat box, just let me know how you're getting on with this process. How is it working for you? What's working well, and maybe what could work better? Just how you're getting on with it. How are things coming along? Just go ahead and share in the chat box. I would really appreciate that. Just so I can get a sense of where we are, how this is working for you, and also while you're doing that, I would also like to encourage us, because another thing that's come up is the issue of pricing. Okay, how much should I price my products? Pricing comes up a lot. Now, what I would say is what you're really looking for here. I'll share with you what you're looking for. You are looking for about 20 people to take you up on this program. Okay, so let me run through the program again. Hi, Margaret. Hi, how you doing? Now, let me run through the program again, explain how it's going to go so you can understand what it is we're looking to do. So this is how it's going to go, right? It's called a cash flow product system. And what that basically means is it's a system that you can use to generate some cash flow for yourself as a coach, speaker, or trainer. So it's not necessarily a flagship product, even though for some of you, it could end up being your flagship product. And if it does, that's brilliant. But what it is, it's just a cash flow product. It's a product that you want to use to generate cash flow. So maybe you need a few extra £100 or a few extra £1,000 or dollars, bucks, as the case may be, because I know we don't have only UK people here in the room. Then this is something that you can use to do that, but at the same time, create a product that you can sell later on. So it will make you money. So what we're looking at is right now is making money right now, which is generating some cash flow, but also creating an asset that can make you money in the future. So we're generating cash flow now, but we're also looking to create an asset that can generate income for you in the future. Now, you need to understand that what this really means. You can create a program now, and the effort would be in creating the home study program or the course right now. 10 years from now, you can still be making money selling that same program. So that's what I mean when I say you create an asset that can make money for you over and over going into the future. Okay, but however, we're looking at generating cash flow and building an asset. That's what we're looking at. So what is the process? The process is very simple. First of all, you identify a problem that a particular group have that you have the knowledge and the expertise to help them solve, whoever that group is. So a particular group, a problem or a frustration they have that you have the knowledge and expertise to help them solve. I'm a little worried right now because I'm not getting any comments from folks. So let me just ask, can you hear me? Okay, all right, so I'll just continue because I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. So let's start again. So the first thing you do is you identify a particular frustration, a challenge, or a difficulty that a particular target community that you know and you have access to is having right now that you can help them solve. Okay, so that's the first thing to do is identify a problem, identify a frustration that a particular community has. One that I use quite regularly as an example is mothers who are looking to get rid of stubborn baby fat, and that when they look in the mirror, they don't like what they see and they want to get rid of that stubborn baby fat. That is a frustration. They've tried different things that haven't worked for them, and they're really looking for a way to get this extra weight off so they can get back into those old dresses they were wearing before they had their baby. Okay, thanks a lot for sharing that. Brilliant. So okay, so that is the target market. Okay, so we can see there that is the target market. Now, what you then do is you then just look at that frustration and you quickly identify the steps that they need to take that you know that if they take will help them overcome that challenge. So for example, mother who is struggling with stubborn baby fat, it could be the first thing she might, you know what, maybe I shouldn't use this example of a mother struggling with stubborn baby fat because I don't know how to help a mother who's struggling with stubborn baby fat. But let's just say hypothetically, okay? So maybe step one is she needs to get onto a particular kind of diet. Step two is she needs to do a particular type of exercise. Step three, so I'm just breaking, so maybe there's 4 different steps. So number one is she needs to get, she needs to get into a particular kind of diet. Number two, she needs to do a particular type of exercise regime. And number three is, I don't know, maybe there's some other, just so break it down into the different things that the different steps or the different activities that they would need to engage in, or the different approaches they would need to engage in to be able to achieve this. Now, I'll use, what I'll do is I'll use a case study of something that I did. Let's walk away from the baby fat thing because I don't have expertise there. And I'll talk about a cash flow product that I created, which is the Set Up for Flight Career Acceleration Program. And this basically is for people who want to accelerate their careers, who are really not happy with where they are in their jobs, where they believe that where they are right now is not a true reflection of where I should be. And they've tried different things. They've applied for jobs and they've consistently gotten rejected. They've seen other people who are not as qualified as them getting promotions, getting opportunities, but those opportunities never come their way. And they're really beginning to feel like, you know, maybe there's something wrong, or there's a conspiracy, there's something that's holding me back, but I just can't seem to get it. Maybe they're even beginning to doubt their abilities. Maybe they're beginning to think maybe there's something wrong with me now, but they really, really want something better, but they're at a place where they're beginning to have doubts. Now, that was the target market. That was their frustration. Their frustration was they were not able to break through to the next level in their career. They had tried different things that hadn't worked for them, and they were at a place where they began to think maybe there was something wrong with me, or maybe there was no way out, and they weren't happy about where they were. So that was my target market. So having worked with this particular group of community for a while, I knew what their frustrations were. I knew their pain. I knew how they saw the world, but I also knew how they could break out from where they are to where they need to be, because I'd helped quite a number of people. And so a few things I realized is, number one, they needed to know how to position themselves and how to promote and sell themselves. A lot of people didn't do that. Also, I know they need to know how to become more visible. They needed to become more visible in the workplace. A lot of people are very, very good, but they're really invisible in the workplace because they have an assumption that their work should speak for them. And so so a lot of them need to become more visible. The other thing is, a lot of them are not even getting opportunities because they have very poor CVs. Or resumes, and so they had very poor CVs or resumes. That's another thing that held them back. Another thing that held people back was they didn't know how to sell themselves when the opportunity. So one is being visible. How do I get more visible? Another thing is, how do I sell myself when I get the opportunity? So a lot of people didn't know how to sell themselves. And then the other thing, which is the fact that LinkedIn is a powerful way to leverage and move yourself forward, but most people did not understand how to use LinkedIn, even if they were on LinkedIn. So I identified these 4 or 5 different things that if they worked on these things, their careers would move forward. So I identified these 4. So it could be more than 4, it could be less than 4. It doesn't really matter. But 4 is a good number. 5 is a good number as well. 7 is a great number. It all depends. You know, 4 is fine. 5 is good. Okay. Now, so what I then did was I then basically, and I then ran a webinar where I basically said, I'm going to show you how to take your career to the next level. There was nothing fancy about the webinar registration page. I'll probably see if I can look for it, and I'll share it with us later. So I then promoted the webinar, basically saying, hey, let me show you how you can accelerate your career, move your career to the next level in 2014. If you're stuck, if you're not happy with where you are, I'm going to show you what steps that you will take. That when you take these steps, you will see your career soar. And I promoted the webinar, and I'll share with you exactly how to promote it. Promoted the webinar, had a few people show up for the webinar, and I ran the webinar, and I'll go through the structure of the webinar. I ran it, and we had a huge conversion. The first time I sold it for $100 instead of £100. It was a mistake. We had a few people take it on. I ran the webinar 3 times, I believe, and I generated, can't remember, about 30 sales or thereabouts. I really can't remember. I know that the numbers in that region. Initially it was $100, and later on it was £100 because $100 was a mistake. Okay, so then after I sold it, I hadn't created the course yet. Okay, I just ran the webinar where I taught them those 4 things that need to be in place. Okay, now having taught the webinar, I then sold the program, which is where I took each of those 4 and I broke them down. Each of those 4 became the 4 modules. You see that? So each of the 4 steps, or the 4 approaches, 4 things, became 4 modules. And I just took each module and I broke it down into step-by-step content. So for example, the CV or resume one, where I talked about the importance of a CV, I talked about the mistakes people make with their CVs, I talked about what makes a good CV, I talked about why you need to have a good CV. So I talked about that during the webinar. But then during the program, one of the elements was the CV makeover module. Now, during this module, the whole idea is by the time they are through this module, I guide them step by step, right? So I had short videos, describing how to write out each section of their CV. So, and I gave them a CV template as well. So this module had about 6 or 7 videos with the different sections of the CV, and I literally guided them through how to craft each section of the CV, and I gave them a template that they could actually fill in the template. So they watch the video and they apply it, they watch the video and they apply it. By the time they are through, they now have a new resume or a new CV. So that was basically what went into that module. Then the other module, which was where I talked about LinkedIn, and I taught them how to use LinkedIn to engage. I did trainings, different videos on how to engage on LinkedIn, how to find and connect with people on LinkedIn. I also did a training on how to structure their LinkedIn profile. Okay, and I also shared how to get recommendations on LinkedIn. So it was literally, I just broke it all down. Can you see that? So different short snippets, videos. So each of the elements, I broke them down and into content and told them what to do. So by the time I had done that, I now had a robust course. It was something, it didn't take me a long time. It took me a few days, right? Just sitting down in front of them, just taking it. And so each of those elements, breaking them into steps of what they need to do. So for example, so that's one scenario. Then after I put the content all online, and remember, they'd already paid for it. So they paid for it, and I said, we're going to be launching it in less than a month, and I'm going to be working with you. And because of that, you're getting it at a special discounted price. That was the whole idea. They had a special discounted price. It was a pre-launch price because they were an elite group who were accessing the program. As I created, their feedback was good. I was going to use their feedback to tweak and improve the program, and that's why they were getting it at a discounted rate. Now, since then, so we created the program. They had access. They loved it. They gave me their feedback, which became testimonials. But since then, and when I go and speak at events, I sell the program. It's all online. It's all there. All the work's done. If someone invites me to come and speak somewhere next week on career growth and how to accelerate your careers, and I do get those sort of invitations because I host a radio show, Maximize Your Career. So I do get those sort of invitations. Now, when I go, and I speak, and let's say there's 200 people in the room. I speak, I add value, and at the end of the event, I make an offer for them to get my new set up for flight career acceleration program, and then people buy it, and I just give them access online, and that's it. So it's sweet. So that's basically what we want to do. Is we want to create a cash flow product that will help us to make money with a target market who has a problem that they need to solve, that we have the knowledge and expertise to help them solve, a frustration that they have, that we have the knowledge and expertise to guide them step by step through solving that problem. And it can be anything. It doesn't, I know, Wumi, for example, I know that you have things to do with skincare and that sort of thing. So if it is the program, so for example, in the webinars, you can talk about, I'll use you as an example, and or I'm going ahead of myself, but you can create a product solving that problem. So take the different steps they need to take, for example, so that what are the different steps, okay? And take each of those steps and do the first thing. So maybe it is, how to wash your face properly with, I don't know, so, and then you can visually just show them what a lot of people do, and you show them how to do it. You tell them to do this, say, rather than doing it this way, do it this way, do it this way. You're literally guiding them, and then you say, and so do this, and just leave your feedback below. Let me know how much of a difference this made for you. And just by doing that video, that's one video, that's a part of the course, you do another video, and you're literally guiding them through the process. That's the whole idea, is you're guiding them through the process, and to help them to, in essence, you want to help them to achieve their goals. And the difference between a webinar, which is knowledge sharing, and this sort of program is people should be taking action as they're going through the program, which means that there's a higher likelihood that they're going to get results. I hope this has been quite useful for us. So that's basically a description of what it is that we cover. But I think I've also quickly shared with us how to craft your program. So how to create your content for your course. That's really it. It simply is what are the steps they need to take, and then guiding them through those steps, breaking those steps down into actionable points and guiding them through it. That's the key thing. So you will share knowledge and also you will then give them some guidance to help them to actually execute it. Okay, I hope that helps. And if anybody has any questions in particular about that, maybe something specific about what it is that you're doing, this is a good time to ask, and I will most definitely answer those questions. Okay, now let's look at the structuring the webinar. Let's look at the structuring of the webinars. I know I've run through this, I've done this before, but I really I have a few things I've written down here that I'm going to run through. And as I run through these, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Now, a crucial thing about a good webinar would, one, focus on the core desires of your target market and position you as a credible, caring expert. Okay, it focuses on their core desires and positions you as a credible and caring expert. Not just credible, not just an expert, but caring. All three: a credible, caring expert. Okay, so it focuses on their core desires and addressing their biggest frustrations. Okay, the other thing is you offer extremely valuable content that empowers the attendees. It must be extremely valuable, not fluff. You're sharing knowledge. Make sure it's extremely, hugely valuable content. Remember, you may say it's free, but it's not free because they have given you their email address and they have given you their time, and you must give them value for their time. You must make them feel like, wow, for what I've given, for the time I've given here, I have got so much from this. Thank God I showed up here. That's what you want to happen when people attend your webinars. You want them to start thinking, whoa, I have learned so much by being here. Imagine, I didn't know any of this stuff before, but now this is just amazing. I feel empowered right now because I've attended and I've listened to this person. She has given so much to me, or he has given so much to me. I really appreciate this, right? So don't share fluff. Don't say, well, if I tell them all of this right now, then what are they going to pay for? No, they will. Because you only have about an hour. So you're probably going to be teaching for maybe 30 to 40 minutes anyways. So the reality is this, you can't tell them everything you know in 30 to 40 minutes. You can't, right? So extremely valuable content that empowers the people. And number three, I'm a little confused. Okay, number three, makes a powerful, targeted, and irresistible offer for a higher level of engagement. So I'll explain that. So what you're saying is, at the end, you make a powerful, compelling, and irresistible offer that basically they will not be able to resist it. They will feel like they will lose a lot if they don't take advantage of what you're offering to them, for them to move on to a higher level of engagement with you. Okay, you always want to invite them to a high level of engagement, and you want that offer to be so compelling that they would feel like they would be losing by not taking advantage of that. Okay, all right, so let's quickly go through the phases, and I'll run you through the phases that I use to run my webinars, where I tend to get about 30% conversions. And what that means is, if I have 10 people attend, I would usually get about 3 who buy. If I have 100 people attend, I'll probably get about 30 people who buy, which is a huge conversion. And I'm sharing with you the exact structures that I've been using to run my webinars. Now, there is the welcome. Welcome is good for there to be excitement. So hey, welcome. I'm really excited to have you here. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's webinar, where I'm going to be sharing with you. I'm not saying you go OTT, except if that's your personality. I mean, because some people are like that. But at least, you know, hi, I'm really excited. Welcome, everybody. We're going to have an absolutely wonderful time. I'm so excited you've taken time out of your busy schedules to be here with us this morning. And I promise you're going to get so much value, right? That's fun, okay? Rather than, all right, let me just check. Are we ready? Is anybody in the room? Let me see. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No, let there be a little bit of life. Okay, so hi, welcome everybody. So just imagine you excited. I don't mean hyper, but excited, right? And get into your excited mode. I'm excited to be here because I have an opportunity to make a difference in somebody's lives. I have the opportunity to add value to a few people. And I'm excited with this opportunity to share my knowledge and expertise with the lovely people who are there. Let that be your mindset. Be excited. Don't think this is work. If you're thinking this is work, you shouldn't be a coach, right? So this isn't work. This is, I mean, those of us who do this, we do this because we love making a difference in people's lives. And even though everybody's behind a computer screen, this is an opportunity for you to make a difference in people's lives and make money too. Okay, right? So let there be some excitement. Crucial thing. Key thing is promises. Keep making big promises. Now, a key thing about credibility and authority is an authority speaks with authority. So don't say, hopefully I hope that you get something that would really help you. No. You know, tonight you're going to get so much value that's going to help you move from wherever it is they are and help you to get this. You make those big promises and you keep making them. You tell them they are going to get this, not you hope they're going to get this, but they will get this. You really want to pay attention right now because you don't want to miss out, because what you're going to be getting tonight will change your life. Can you see that? What you're going to be getting tonight will change your life. It will enhance you. It will make a big difference for you. It will help you. It doesn't matter how long you've been going through, whatever it is you've been going through. I'm going to be sharing with you the exact steps you need to take that will get you out of that situation and get you to that place where you want to be over the next hour or so. So pay attention. Can you see that? You speak with authority. Speak with a conviction. Why should I believe you if you're saying maybe? So are you saying there's a chance it's not going to be useful? No. So you want to speak with authority. So you better believe what it is you're talking about. Okay. So you make the big promises. You are going to get this by the time we are through here. By the time we're through with this program, this is what's going to happen for you. This is where you're going to be, right? Make the big, big, big promises. Okay. Now, also one thing that I always do is I ask them to go to get rid of distractions. It's just something that I do because, you know, when a person's sitting in front of their computer, it's easy to be multitasking, and you don't want them multitasking. You want them to focus and pay attention. And so by telling them, you reduce the likelihood of them doing that. So I always say, shut out every distraction, get away from the television, go to a nice quiet room. If you have your phone, put it on silent, get away from the children, get away from the pets, get away from anything that could get in the way and hinder you from getting the value that you're going to be getting tonight. So that will hinder you, that may cause you to miss out on hearing that one thing that could give you the breakthrough that you need in whatever area it is that you're serving them. Okay, so I would always ask them to go to a quiet place where there's no distractions, get a pen and a notepad and stay to the end. Okay, stay to the end. All right, now, then you connect with them. This is where you then begin to talk about what this program's about. Okay, so this is where you start to talk about, you know, the frustrations and the pains. So this is where you talk about those things, you know. So I know that some of you who are here tonight, maybe you're going through this, you're going through that, you've tried this and it hasn't worked, you've tried that and it hasn't worked, and you really begin to think that maybe there's no way. So you begin to talk about the frustrations, begin to talk about their current reality, and then promise them that I do promise you. So I promise you that by the time we are through, and then again make that big promise, you will be, and then where they want to be, just tell them it. So what happens is you begin to build hope in them. See, that's what you want to do, because a lot of people have lost hope, right? You begin to build hope in them. They begin to believe it's possible again. They begin to believe that maybe actually this can happen. Maybe so by doing that, you're building up hope very early, and then you make a big promise that during this webinar, you are going to give them the key. You are going to show them how to get out of that mess. You're going to show them how to get into that place they want to be. So then you go into your story. Who are you and why should they listen to you? And this is a very crucial part because you want them to connect with you. And the way you do this is telling your story. And the key thing is you don't, if you get this one wrong, if you just treat this one casually, right, you will miss out. Now, two things. One, it's either the best kind of story is you've been in their situation. You've gone through exactly what they've gone through. You've been exactly where they are. You've been frustrated like they are right now. And then you went through a process and you are no longer there and you are now where they want to be. Right? And you helped other people as well who are like them and get from where they are to where they want to be. That's the best kind of story. The second kind of story is maybe you don't have a story of being where they are, but you have a story of something that costs you to want to work with people who are where they are, how that happened, what the journey was. It might have been accidental. It might have been intentional. It was like, you know, the truth is I hadn't, but this is what happened for me. One particular day, it was a colleague of mine asked me something. And then she asked me this, you know, whatever it is, just tell the story of how you started to work with people who are going through what they're going through, and then how you've now come where you are, and then tell the stories of some of the people you have helped. So there's always part of your story, if you do have others you've helped, is to tell some of those stories and some of the things they said to you that made you really want to help more people. Okay, so your story is crucial. So things like where were you and when you were going through that pain and frustration, what was it like? This is your story. So even though it relates to them, it's unique to you. So you have your unique story that they can still relate to because it might relate to theirs in a certain way. Okay, then how did you get out? Where are you now and how different are things? And why are you helping others? And what should they expect tonight? Okay, so that's introducing yourself. Who am I? In essence, what makes you a credible authority? First of all, I'm an authority because I've been there, if you've been there. Secondly, I'm an authority because I may have gone through some training and some to help me to help other people. And thirdly, I've helped other people just like you, and here are a few examples, right? So that's your story. That's who you are. And then you finally end up by basically promising them again that you're hoping that the way that other people have come and you've helped other people, that you are going to help them tonight as well. Okay, so now you've done that, you're now ready to go into the training. Okay, so there's two elements to the training that I use. This is what I use. Not everyone teaches this, not everyone does this, but this I've come to realize works for me. Okay, and this is what I'm going to recommend that everybody does. Okay, that you do it the exact same way and it will work. Okay, so the first thing I do is the first element of the training is why things don't work. Why things don't work. So it could be the mistakes people make. So in essence, people who are in this particular situation, who are attempting to come out of it, who are attempting to break through, who are attempting to get to that place they want to be. Why is it that they're struggling right now? And it could be either the mistakes people are making. So what are the mistakes? It could be 3 mistakes people make, or it could be 3 wrong assumptions. So for example, with my Setup for Flight Career Acceleration Program, I think it was 4 assumptions. I call them I called them, if I can recall now, one of them is the face that fits assumption, that there's the assumption that if I am black, or if I'm female, or if I'm this or that, or if I am a white heterosexual male, or if I'm young, or if I'm old, then I'm not going to get these opportunities. That's an assumption. Another assumption is hard work, the hard work assumption, which is if I work harder than everybody else, then I'll get recognized and I'll get noticed. That's another assumption. And the thing is, when I begin to mention these assumptions and I begin to explain why they're erroneous, and I begin to say, well, what persons are thinking, wow, that's me. He's just describing me. So that's what's been holding me back, because I've got this wrong assumption. And so I run through the different assumptions that way. So it could be either mistakes people are making, assumptions people make, or maybe reasons why people struggle. So why things don't work, it could be 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, just run through these reasons and you explain why these reasons are wrong. So you introduce it, you introduce the assumption, you explain why it's wrong and why it holds people back. You introduce the approach that people are taking, you explain why it's a wrong approach and why it holds them back. So you introduce what people do. That's why, if you remember, when we're looking at the different steps, I said, what are the things that people have done that don't work? Because you want to talk about these things people do that haven't worked and tell them why they haven't worked, right? And then once you've gone through all these, you then introduce, so you've gone through the why things don't work element of the training, okay, where you nullify a lot of the things they've done that haven't worked, but explain why they haven't worked. And also, for some people who haven't done some of these things, right, that maybe intended to do some of these things, they know not to do them. And if it's assumptions, because sometimes it's assumptions, you challenge those assumptions and explain why those assumptions are flawed. Okay? All right, good. Then you then introduce in one sentence the primary solution to the problem. So again, with the I'll use the example of the career program that I ran. I basically said the problem and the reason, the key thing here is, the one thing is, people whose careers are soaring are more strategic about how they grow their careers, while other people just hope and wish that things work for them. So if you see anybody whose career is just soaring, if you see anybody who it seems like everything seems to be happening so quickly for them, they're not lucky. They're doing certain things intentionally that are helping them move their careers forward. And those things they're doing are what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. Can you see there how in one sentence, I basically said the solution is you've got to be more strategic with your career, period. Okay, so that's how you do that, is you work through those assumptions and then you try to summarize the solution in one sentence. Now, let me break down what I mean by being more strategic. Now you move to the next step of the training. Now, I use that analogy. So that's how I did that there. So you then move to the next step of the training. And the next step is where you now teach them the steps from where they are to where they want to be. Okay, so the first part of the training is why things don't work, mistakes people make, assumptions people make, the reason why people are struggling. You introduce in one sentence, you summarize the solution to the problem, and now you're going to teach them. You're going to take that and teach them and break it down into different steps, or different. It could be different steps if it's a process, or it could be different points if they are just different. If it's not a process, but they're different points, it could be steps, it could be points. Okay, all right. So now you are going to teach the steps from where they are to where they want to be, and that's what you will know, because you would have identified those steps. So this is how they travel that journey. This is what they need to do. So you've broken it down into however many steps, 3 steps, 5 steps, 10 steps. I don't know. It all depends on your target market. Okay, I think 5 is good, really. Anything more than 5 could be a little too many. If you can summarize them into 5, that's fine. Sometimes you might need to do more than 5, but 5 is good. Okay, all right. Now, so this is the secret here, so let's say you have 5 to share and you're going to be doing this in 30 minutes, or right, you realize that you probably need 5 minutes for each point, right? Now, this is the secret. This is the secret. This is really crucial, right? Do the best, give the best you can give away about each point in the 5 minutes you have allocated for it. Do you get that? So don't think, okay, what am I, in essence, if someone tells me to come and speak about this particular thing for 5 minutes, if I was on the phone with someone and I wanted to explain this particular point to them and I had only 5 minutes and I wanted them to get the best they can get, what would I say? That's what you want to put in there. You want to put in the best. Okay, now the crucial thing is you can't tell them everything. So you would always say things like, okay, well, okay, we've got a lot to cover. I can't really go into detail here, but what you really need to do is you need to do this, 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 and that. So make sure you are giving them substance, but don't go beyond 5 minutes because you don't want to overrun. Okay, so that's the key thing. It's rather than just saying, oh, I don't want to give my best. You can't give your best. Give the best you can give in that amount of time, which is 5 minutes, and let them know later on, which we'll talk about, that on your program, that 5-minute thing, you have a whole 1 hour's worth of content where you've broken it down into useful content and guidance and training for them. See, that's the whole idea, right? So when you've given them so much value in 5 minutes, they want more. If you've just given them fluff and said, well, I can't tell you much now because everything else is in the course, then they're thinking, I'm not sure how good this person's course is because I haven't really got much value right now. Is this making sense for us? Because I'm going on and on. If there's at any point in time, if you need clarity, I really want to see questions. If you need clarity, if you're thinking, I'm not sure about what DJ just said, just type in the question in the chat box and I will answer. I will make sure I answer your questions. So I'm actually looking at the chat box here, looking out for your questions, guys. Okay, so feel free to do that. Okay, so this is the key thing is do your absolute best to add great value, share secrets, share your formula, share strategies, share tactics. The more value you share here, the more likely they are to buy later on. I'll say that again. The more value you share here, the more likely they are to buy from you later on. And the more they buy into you and your knowledge and your expertise and then your willingness to give, right, the more they will expect to get value when they buy your program. See, and that's why you do that, okay? All right, so, and you would then say things like, so for example, you know, during the training, this is where you start to throw things in. You would say things like, so maybe you're on step number 3 and say, and you run through things, says, ooh, you know what, we're running out of time. Later on, I'll tell you about my program, mention the name of the program, where you can get a lot more useful information about that one. But I'm going to move on to the 4th one right now because we don't have a lot of time. So you can throw that kind of thing in to prepare them for your offer. Okay. All right. Now you're introducing your offer, and this is really crucial, right? Because now you're talking about this. So, all right. So this is really great. Now, this is where you then go into, you know, I hope you've got great value, but I've got something really, really exciting and important that I want to share with you because it's very, very important for you if you want, and then you go again and talk about their dreams. And if you're really 100% serious about it and you most definitely want to make it happen, then this part of the program is very, very important for you. And you want to pay attention because this is the key to really helping you make it happen. Can you see what I've done there? If you want to, if you're listening to the replay, you want to rewind that, that's a very good way of connecting them and moving them to the offer. And if there's anybody who's able to write it down and share it in the group, okay, because I don't have that written down anywhere, that would be great as well. All right, now, so you've done that. You've kind of pivoted. What you've done there is there's a lot of positioning you're doing there. You're positioning them to actually pay attention and attach importance to what it is you're going to say, because you say it's going to deal with their frustrations and pains, and it's really going to help them get what they want. An audio program is still a course. Well, a course, a program, it's the same thing. When I call it a course or a program, whatever it is you're going to be offering them at the end of the webinar, okay? So it may be a course, it may be an audio series, okay? So that's fine. I hope that answers your question, okay? So you could be offering an audio series, it could be a video series, it could be a complete home study program with video and audio and with scripts as well, with worksheets, whatever you're offering. That's what I mean when I say course. So your program, whatever the program or solution that you're going to be selling. It could even be, if you want to, but it could be a group coaching program, whatever it is. But it could even be a one-to-one coaching program if you wanted to offer that as well. But I probably wouldn't do that just now. You can do that later, but I really want you to create a product. So don't offer anything that would not lead to you creating a product. Okay, so offer something that will lead to you creating a product. I want you to have something you can sell later on and that you can leverage, because remember, our goal is to help you to go full-time. And because our goal is to help you to go full-time, if you have a product that you can sell that people can use and you're not there, it's easy to give you leverage, and it will give you leverage to help you to go full-time as a coach, speaker, or trainer. Okay, great. So so now that you've done that, you now want to pivot them into what this program is. So mention the name of the program, and then talk about why you created this program, now when I say why, why you are creating this program. So there's a story behind it, and it is you've come to realize, having been there yourself, and gone through that frustration, if you have, or having seen a lot of people struggle, and there's so much out there, there's a lot of hype out there, but most of it doesn't work. It doesn't help people get results. And you had decided that you were going to create a program that would really help people, that would help them to be able to make things happen, that would, that they can follow and get real results, not just something someone puts together who really doesn't understand how things work, but they put it, there's a lot of nonsense out there, and a lot of it doesn't work. And you know that, and you've seen so many people get burnt, and that's why you have decided to create a program, using the knowledge and expertise that you have to actually help real people get real results. People who are going through, again, talk about the pain and frustration, and who are serious about doing this. Now, so mention the name of the program, and so what is it going to do? Then you talk about the biggest benefit of this particular program. Yes, the program is the product. The program is the product. It is, right? So you mentioned the benefits of the product of the program, where they're going to be. So the biggest benefit, where are they going to be at the end of the implementation of this program? So this is where you paint the picture. So I want you to just imagine, right? And then paint the picture. I want you to just imagine that you wake up in the morning, you jump in the shower and you jump out like you usually do. But when you wake up and you look in the mirror, you see the image that looks back at you. You just think, wow, who is this pretty girl? And you just start thinking, wow, look at me. And you're so amazed at the transformation. And as you realize that, you start getting those compliments that you hadn't been getting for a while. People start talking about how beautiful you look. You feel more confident. You feel more confident in yourself. And you feel so much better because of where you are, because you realize all that hard work and following this program and following that diet has finally paid off for you, and you feel like it's just been so worth it, right? Now that is where you're going to be, once you've taken this program and implemented it, right? So you paint the picture. The whole just imagine is a good thing. Use the just imagine and paint the picture. Paint the picture, go into the detail, and let them see it. Let them see themselves in that place. Let them begin to picture, let them begin to smell it and begin to want it, where they're thinking, oh gosh, I really want this. I want what this person's describing here, right? So you paint the picture of where they're going to be, and then you talk about the program and each of the elements and the benefits. Benefits are crucial. Let's talk about features and benefits. So you introduce a feature and you then tell us the benefits. So for example, let's talk about the CV makeover. So the CV makeover, now it's broken down into different modules, which basically, it makes it easy for you to follow, which means that you're not going to struggle in completing the CV. You'll do it in less time than you would doing it by yourself. But not only that, by the time you are through and you put it forward, you will get interview invites. You'll get more interview invites than you can handle, which means that you should be in a new job. You should be in a new job within the next 90 days. Right? So just imagine yourself 90 days from now, just because you have tweaked your CV using this program, right? You're getting more interview invites than you're getting, because that's where you're going to be, right? You're getting more interview invites than you can handle. You will actually have to start to say no to these interview invites. Why? Because you have a CV that is selling you so powerfully. Right? So that's what you're going to get as you work through the CV makeover program, a CV that gets you more interviews than you can handle, right? So you can see you talk about the benefits, which is not just what this thing does, but what it means for them. So if you're looking at writing a book, what's that going to be? So where are they going to be? You're going to be getting more speaking engagements than you can handle. You're going to be getting people calling you up. I mean, calling you up, wanting, rather than you chasing clients are going to be chasing you, wanting to work, wanting you to do stuff for them because they've read your book or because they came across your book. This book will open doors for you. You're going to find yourself, so you paint the picture, you sell the benefits of the book. Don't talk about you can talk about the features, but talk about the benefits, which is what am I going to get as a result of having this feature? So what am I going to get as a result of it having this? So what? Answer the question, so what? So, well, you're going to have a book published in 90 days. So what? So that you become a recognized authority in your field. So what? So what? So I become a recognized authority. So what? Well, when you become a recognized authority, this is what happens for you. You start getting more invites to speak at events, right? Imagine a situation. I mean, imagine, how many of you are getting enough invitations to events right now? Okay, a few hands. Well, guess what? You will have more invitations than you can handle, because your book will go ahead and sell you, and event planners are always looking for speakers, right? And they usually go online. This is what they do. They go online, they look for authors in that particular category, they look for them and they contact them. And that's what's going to happen for you when your book is published. Can you see that? Is you really begin to sell the value to them. You begin to sell the value to them, the benefits. The benefits of what's going to happen, where they're going to be as a result of going through your course or your program, as the case may be. Right? Now, another thing that I do say is think about all the objections that they may come up with. So what are some of the objections they may come up with? I'm not sure if I'm going to have time for this. Will this thing really work for me? What other objections? So think about all the different objections they can come up with and address the objections. So if anybody's thinking, am I going to have time for this? Well, you know, the good thing about this program is you just basically deal with that time objection. If there's anyone who's thinking that, can I afford this? Well, the reality is, then talk about, so a classic example is, can they afford my program, the Set Up for Flight Career Acceleration program? I say, excuse me, I say the CV module alone, will grow your income by a minimum of £10,000 this year. Now they say, what do you mean by that? I say, well, for most of you, right now, if your CV, if you make over your CV or resume, that CV will, listen to this, that CV will get you interviews for jobs that right now you're not getting interviews for, which are paying £10,000 more than what you're earning right now. So just by tweaking your CV and sending that CV out, it will get you a job that's paying you £10,000 more than what you're earning right now. So that module alone is worth at least £10,000 for you. Can you see that? How I relate it to can I afford it? So the reality is this, is where would you rather be? Still where you are right now with the exact same CV that you're using right now that's not working for you like you want it to work, with the exact same skills that you have right now with it, or would you rather take this and apply it and see it take your career to the next level, right? So take each of the objections that you think they're going to come up with and begin to deal with them, okay? Then price. And price is a big one. Introduce price. Now, I'm not going to, now, this is, okay, before I talk about, let's take these things in order, right? Now, introducing your price, the key here is to build up the value, okay? So, how many hours are you going to put into this particular program? So how much do you charge every hour? How much are your hourly rates? Okay, so you say, well, okay, let's say your hourly rates are $200, for example. Let's say, well, I charge $200 an hour. Those are my hourly rates, okay? Now, how many hours are you going to put into this particular program, into creating it, the content alone? So if the content is 5 hours, right, the content alone is $5,000. If creating the content, so if creating it and everything is another 10 hours, right, that's, I don't know, 10 hours, $2,000, that's $3,000. What else goes into that? Then there's a whole systems of delivery, the systems of delivering the course and all that. So let's say that's another $2,000. So we're looking here about $5,000. However, I'm not going to charge you that. Why? Because even though the program is worth more than $5,000, I know that if I charge you that, most people would not be able to afford it. And one of the key things I wanted to do when I created this program was to make it affordable. Right? Now, we haven't launched this program yet. See, this is the thing. So We haven't launched this program yet. And in my heart of hearts is I'm actually going to be creating the program. It's going to be launching, let them know when it's going to be launching. And so I'm looking at a small group of people who are going to experience the program first before we launch it to the public, right? When we launch it to the public, we're going to be launching it at $500 or whatever price it is you're going to be launching it to the public, okay? We'll talk about pricing in a moment. So when we launch it, we're going to be launching it at $500, which is a good deal, which is an amazing deal, right? However, I'm looking for a small number of people, just 20 people who are going to take the program and experience it. They're going to experience it as I create it, so they'll give me feedback in case there's any changes I need to make, and then they're going to apply it and get results. Now, and I call these my elite group, and I'm sharing with you exactly how I do this, right? I call this group my elite group of people. They get the program at a hugely special discount, a massive discount. I'll be sharing that discount with you in a moment. They would also have personal one-to-one contact with me. We're going to create a special Facebook group for this small group of people. So as they go through the course, if they have questions, they can come to the group and ask those questions. I can answer them because I really want to ensure they get results as I create the program. Then once the program is live, obviously you have full access to it, but you've already experienced it and you're already getting results. Okay, now, right? So I explain that, so you go through that, and then you let them know how much it would cost for them to be on that elite group, right? And say, you will be able to speak to me one-to-one, you'll be able to connect to me, you're going to get all this, you explain all that, you let them know how much it's going to be when it goes live, and then you let them know how much it is to be on this group. And it's got to be a really ridiculously lower offer. So for example, with the Setup for Flight Career Acceleration program, it was going to be £300, but I sold it for £100 for the elite group. So that's £200 off. Okay, so something like that, something really ridiculously low that they would think, whoa, first of all, if they've been wowed and they want this, they're going to be thinking, why on earth would I not get this? Okay, then obviously offer them the money back guarantee. Money back guarantee is a really big one. Always offer a money back guarantee. If you go through this and it's not worth it, it does not work for you, I don't want your money. What I want is your progress. I want to add value and make money from the value I add. I want you to feel that you've got a lot more than your money's worth. And I back up this particular program with my 100% money back guarantee that you will get at least 10 times your money's worth. And if you don't feel you've got at least 10 times your money's worth, just let me know and I will give you your money, give you a full refund, no questions asked, right? You have a 60-day money back guarantee, a 60-day money back guarantee. So offer them that guarantee so you have nothing to lose. Now, again, but where you are going to be is you're going to be, again, paint the picture of where they're going to be again as a result of them implementing what they learned from this program and where their life is going to be. So paint the picture, really go into that, and then tell them what to do. Get them to take the action. Keep answering questions. Tell them, click this button, it takes you here, and then do this. As soon as you've done that, you've been registered, and I'll add you to the Facebook group, and this is how it's going to happen. This is the timetable for the release of the content. This is how we're going to work. I'm going to work with you closely. I'm really going to be working with you in that group as we go through the program to ensure that you get really amazing results. Okay, so wait, so go ahead and do that. And you're literally going through that, answering questions, and then doing some more teaching, and then pointing them to the offer. So keep talking about the offer, keep talking about, you know, what's going to happen as people are placing their orders. So that's kind of like the structure of the webinar, and I hope this is useful for us, ladies and gents. If this is useful for us, please just let me know if this has been useful. And I mean practical, not theoretical, but you thinking, yes, this is very useful. I can take this and I can go and apply this, right? Just go ahead and let me know. Now, okay. I want to see, and if you do have any questions about this before we move on to the next stage, so which is the planning and promoting your webinars. Okay, so just let me know where we are so far. If you have any questions with what we've covered so far, this is a good time to type those questions before we move into planning, promoting, and running your webinars. Now, sorry, planning and promoting your webinars, not running. Well, I will share a few tips on running your webinars anyways, but mainly planning and promoting. Okay, so a good tip, something that is useful, is promise them that you're going to share something with them at the end of the webinar. And that's always a good thing. There's a little secret that you say, I'm going to share this with you at the end of the webinar. That keeps them on till the very end. It could be a gift, it could be an audio gift or a video gift, it could be a report or something, or it could be just something you're going to share with them, a little secret that you're going to share with them at the end, something that you know will compel them to stay all the way through to the end of your webinar. That's another little tactic that works extremely well. Okay, we're going to move on very quickly now. Thanks for coming back to me. Oh yes, they do have to pay. They'll have to pay before you add them. They need to become a paying. They pay, and being part of the group is part of the process. So they've paid. In essence, they've paid for the program, but you're adding them to this group to support people who've paid for the program. That's the whole idea, right? You add them to the group to support the people who've paid for the program. Awesome. Now, let's go into the running of the webinars, and this is well, planning and promoting the webinars, really. Now, I would suggest you should look at running at least two. Okay, look at running at least 2 webinars, but promote only 1. Okay, you can run up to 3. I think more than 3 becomes redundant, really. 2's good. 2's better than 1, and 2's, I think 3's okay, but 2 is the ideal. I would go with running 2 webinars. Okay. And look at running them over 2 weeks. So run one in 1 week and the other one the next week. So you have enough time in between both of them to promote. Okay. Now make sure you incorporate list building. We know that. I'm not going to go into detail. So if you've been following the training I've been doing and you're using Webinar Jam and all that, you would be incorporating it into your email marketing autoresponder system. Okay, so when folks register for the webinar, they join your list, bottom line. We've talked about the headlines and all that. I'm not going to go into detail around the webinar registration page. All that's available in the group, and I'm sure most of us have already gone through that. If you haven't, that's part of step 1. I'm sorry, part 1. Okay, now let's look at promoting your webinar. Now, if you already have a list, that's great. If you already have a list, that's great. Okay. All you just need to do is send an email to your list. So you send an email a week before, you send an email 4 days before, you send an email 2 days before, and you send another email the morning of the webinar, and you send another email at 5 p.m. You might think, oh, that's a lot. Some people are going to unsubscribe. Yeah, let them unsubscribe. Period. Right? If they unsubscribe, and I'll be blunt, let's face it. If a person unsubscribes because you're promoting a webinar to address a problem in that particular community, then they shouldn't be on that list. That's it. They shouldn't be on that list in the first place. So think, oh, so you send I'll go again. You send a week before, right? 4 days before, 2 days before, a day before, the morning of the webinar, and 5 p.m. Right? That's a lot. Yeah. But you get a lot more people register. That's the bottom line. You get a lot more people register. You will get a few unsubscribe. But are you looking for subscriptions, or are you looking to grow a business? Right. Good. So you promote the webinar to your list. Now, if you don't already have a list, right? And even if you do have a list, I'm going to encourage you to do this, because this is going to be really crucial. Now, all of your contacts, all of them, you're going to send them an email, right? You're going to send them an email, and you're going to promote the webinar to all of them. And you're basically going to say, this is how it is. It is, the subject could be, start something along the lines of please help out, or do me a favor. Now with your friends, don't bombard them with emails. It's slightly different. Okay, with your if you don't have a list and you're sharing this with your content, with your contacts, it's slightly different. I'd probably send just 2 emails, just 2, right? I'll send one about a week before and another one 2 days before, and that's just it. Okay, don't start bombarding them with emails because they can get upset because they didn't opt in for that. Okay, so but your contacts say, hey, can you do me a favor, please? Say, I'm running a webinar, blah blah blah, covering and I'm helping people who are, and this is where you go back to the things you got from step 1, their frustration. I'm helping people who are frustrated because blah 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 to achieve this, and I'm running a webinar on the particular date you're running the webinar, titled whatever it is. One, if this is something you would love to attend, please go ahead and register. But if not, if there's anybody who you know that could get value from this webinar, please do me a favor and just forward this email to them, because it's really going to make a big difference for them. Okay, so that's what I'll do with sending emails to my contacts. Is I'm running this, it's going to be doing this. This is the value it's going to be adding. Either register here to attend if it's for you, but if it isn't, do me a favor, just share it with other people who you believe can get value from this, so they can go along, they can go ahead and attend and get the value. So send emails, okay? However, the big one is SMS text messaging. That's what's going to get you some really exciting and sweet results. Okay? Now, how does this one work? You simply send a text message to your contacts. Now, there's a few apps. If you use an Android phone, these are bulk messaging apps, really. So the way these bulk messaging apps work on your phones, I'm just holding up my phone right now. I'll look for the one that I have on my phone. It's called I'll just look for it, SMS Messagia or something like that. There's other apps. I mean, if you check your App Store or Play Store, whatever it's called, depending on what device you use, for a bulk messaging app, and a lot of them are free, right? And what they do is you can use them to send. So this is the one that I use. I'm going to share it with you in a brief moment. So it's called Messagia or something. I'm not sure if you can see that. So basically, right, there we go. So messed up now. There we go. So trying to change. Okay, let me change the angle because it's really okay. It's probably worse. Anyways, right. What it does is you compose the message, right, and you compose the message here, right, and then you can put in people's first names, right, and then select recipient. So you type in the message, you can put in the person's name as a placeholder. So where you put in that placeholder, like first name, it will replace first name with the first name of the individuals who that SMS text message goes to. Then the second part is where you then select recipients, and you can then just, as you can see, it brings up everybody whose name is on your list. And then when it does that, you can then just begin to select who you want that message to go to. So if you don't want it to go to your boss, you leave out your boss and just send it out to everybody else, really, right? So, and the message should be something along the lines of, hey, do you know anybody who has, anyone, so again, your target market, do you know anyone who's wanting to write a book but is struggling because blah, 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 blah? Do you know anybody who wants to take their career forward, who's not happy because where they are is not a true reflection of where they want to be, and they really are at a point where they need a breakthrough in their career, and they just want to know how to move to the next level, for example, right? I'm hosting a webinar on the particular date titled this, or whatever the title is, where I'm going to be sharing the exact same steps that have worked for me and so many of my clients. It's a free to attend webinar, but spaces are limited, right? If you would like to attend, or if you know anybody that would like to attend, please reply with your email address so I can register you. Spaces are limited, so please act now, and I look forward to welcoming you to the webinar. or so that's it. So that's what you compose and then send. So when you hit broadcast, it sends that message to everybody that you have selected, but it's a personalized message, right? Another option is WhatsApp, but I believe SMS, because a lot of people are using WhatsApp right now, it's not as effective as it used to be. So if you have free SMS text messages, then use that as well as WhatsApp, okay? But definitely use the SMS text messages as well as WhatsApp, okay? So use both, okay? And do the broadcast. Now do that about 2 or 3 times. Do it about 2 or 3 times. Yes, you might irritate a few people. You just don't overdo it. 2 or 3 times enough, right? And then they will come back with their email addresses and you manually add them, okay? So the other thing you now do is social media, Facebook. Now, your friends, your Facebook friends, manually just compose another message, the same thing. Do you know anybody who is pain, who's frustration and dreams? I'm running, so it's the same thing, but you can make it a little bit longer, right? And then a link for them to register for the webinar registration link. Excuse me. And again, just go and send them private messages. Send them private messages via Facebook. Yes, that is manual. It will take a while, but hey, you want to build a business, right? So you want to send to as many as you can that you think would fit the profile or would promote it for you, okay? So it's either they're going to fit the profile or you can say to them, 1, click to attend, and do me a favor, please share this on your Facebook profile to promote the event for me. Okay, get them to register and invite them to share it on their Facebook profile and send it to as many of your Facebook friends as you have a relationship with, who you think will not get upset that you send that kind of message to them. Okay, so send that message to as many. The key thing is massive action. You know what? Don't send it to as many as possible. Send it to as many. Just send it. Just copy and paste and send. Copy. As long as it's your friends, Facebook don't get upset. They get upset when you send messages to people who aren't your Facebook friends. But as long as they're your friends, Facebook don't have a problem with that. Right? So you send that to them and appreciate them for doing you this favor. Okay, so make sure it's personal. Even though you're asking for, don't just put, hey, gun this girl, oh, I'm running the super duper webinar, blah, 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 blah. This is it. Attend, your life will change forever. No. Ask them to do you a favor. Say, need to do me a favor. Got this going on. This. It's for this particular target market who are going through this challenge, who want to achieve this, and this is what they're going to get. Spaces are limited, but I really want to have a lot of people. Do me a favor. First of all, if it's for you, go ahead and register. But more importantly, I'd really love for you to share with anybody who you know would really get value from it. And then if you can share it on your Facebook profile, letting them know that I'm running this event, I would really appreciate it. Okay, so again, I would do that and get them to just send out the invites, and some people are going to share it. That's the beautiful thing. They will share it on your behalf. Some people are going to click to attend for themselves because it actually is something for them, right? So you do that way. Okay, then and that's it. So again, normal things like sharing on your Facebook profile, Twitter feeds, and Instagram. I'm not going to go into detail with those ones, but yes, you'll do that as usual. So basically, massive action, get the message out with a lot of intensity, right? Massive action, get a message out with a lot of intensity. You want to try to get at least 50 to 100 people register. That should be your goal, to get at least 50 to 100 people register, okay? And to get 50 to 100 people register, you probably will need to reach a lot of people and focus on doing that. Okay, so go for 50 to 100. Even if do that. If the first one you get maybe you get a small number, it's fine. Run it, right, and then look at the next one, and then promote the next one like crazy. Okay. All right. I think if there's any questions about that, about promoting, go ahead and ask your questions. What I will do is I'll just share a few things about running the webinar, and then I'll share. I know that we did have a few other questions. I'll go back and look at the questions, and I'll answer those ones as well. Okay, so now do a test run. Definitely do a test run. Most definitely, right? Do a test run. get familiar with the software. You know that what I recommend, I've recommended it in the group. That's the webinar software I recommend. If you choose to use anything else, that's fine, but you really, I can't, because what I recommend, and sorry, I'm going to talk about something else I just haven't mentioned, which is crucial and important. And I'm going to mention that in a brief moment. But I mean, do a test run. Make sure everything's working properly, and do a test run on the machine you're going to be using on the day. Don't do a test run on your laptop and then try to host the webinar on your desktop. And never use a mobile device to host a webinar. Don't use your tablet. Don't ever use your iPad. Right? I know your iPad is super brilliant and it's super amazing and wonderful, and it just literally just got it from Apple like last week. It was the newest iPad. I don't even know what the new ones are. It doesn't matter, right? Use a computer. In fact, if you can, use one that's wired rather than wireless. But I use wireless, to be honest. That's fine. I'm using wireless right now. But you know, if you can use wired, have it wired in rather than using wireless. Okay, but wireless is fine. But don't use an iPad. Don't. It won't even work well. That's the bottom line. It just won't. Okay. You can attend a webinar with your iPad, but don't host a webinar with your iPad. Don't do that. It's not good practice. Okay. So now, how are you going to do the webinar? That's really up to you. Now, if you're doing, you can do voice only. That's an option. Something's wrong there, Margaret. Maybe you and I can talk about that outside. If people are registering but they're not being added to your list, then there must be something wrong. We'll need to look at that. You and I will talk about that. I mean, one-to-one. Okay, so we'll talk about that one-to-one. Okay, so you can do voice only. So I could switch off my camera, and I'm doing a voice only webinar right now, and that's one way of doing it. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. Okay. So for example, you're thinking, oh, right now I'm not looking great, and maybe the lighting's not good where I am. Then you can do a voice only webinar. That's like doing a teleseminar. You know, there's nothing wrong. That's one option. Okay. Or you can do a video with a webcam like I'm doing right now. Make sure you have good lights. I'm using daylight right now, and I've got light coming into the room. I'm actually facing the window, and so it's very good light. If it's nighttime, I still do this. It's not as bright. I have certain lights I switch on here in my home office, and I also use the lights up here just to brighten up the room a little bit. Okay, then a decent camera, obviously, and well, a decent microphone. Right now I'm using the microphone that comes with my camera. I was going to point my camera at the screen, and I wonder if I did that, if that would. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to show the camera, is it? Great. I'm using a camera. I don't know why I did that. Right. I'm using a camera. It's a Microsoft HD camera. It comes with a microphone. That's what I'm using. But for many of you, your computers will come with a camera anyways, and so that's fine. Okay, so if your computer comes with a camera and a decent enough microphone, that's great. If it doesn't come with a decent enough microphone, you can get one of these. Not too expensive. I think about £30 or so. You can get a decent headset with a built-in microphone. But at the moment, I'm not using this one. I'm using the one that comes with my webcam. Okay, so as long as you've got a decent microphone, decent webcam, you can go ahead and you can do voice only. You can also do video. You can do a video one. You can do video and screen share. So if you had PowerPoint, for example, you can do video and screen share. So what you do is, again, practice this. To the left, it is left, right? Yes, to the left, there is a green tab. It's called screen share. As soon as you click on that, my recommendation is to select entire screen, click share, and then you can share whatever you want. So here is me. This is me sharing my screen. So if you wanted to use PowerPoint, this is where you would open up PowerPoint, and you would just use a PowerPoint full screen, and that is what your audience would see. So you can do the voice and screen, video and screen share, where you can swap between the screen when you're using PowerPoint and then using screen share when you want to and then going back to camera when you want to use your video. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And you can also do voice and screen share. So if you wanted to use voice only, you can use voice only as well. So switch off your camera. Okay, they can hear you. They can hear your voice. And when you want to share your screen, just go ahead and click the screen share button, and you can share your screen. So you can do voice and screen share. You can do video and screen share, which is really cool. So screen share is great when you want to share slides. Okay, log in about 30 minutes early in case anything goes wrong. You know, I mean, something could go wrong, Murphy's Law. So make sure you log in about 30 minutes early to make sure everything's hunky-dory, everything's working smooth, everything's working fine, everything's sweet. All right, great stuff. Now, big one. Let me see. Start on time. Yes, you do want to start on time. As soon as it's time, start. If everyone isn't in the room, if there's only a few people in the room, understand when you start your webinar, you would only have about 10% of the people who are going to show up in the room. People tend to be late. It's just the way people are. About 10% will show up on time, and then people start showing up as time goes on. So don't feel discouraged. Don't think, oh my goodness, I've only got 3 people in the webinar. What's going on? Just start, right? Just get started, right? People just start coming in. And about the 5-minute mark, a lot of people start coming in then, and so don't feel discouraged. Just get started and treat it like people are like there's 100,000 people in the room. Just get into it, really get into doing things as people join. So again, you're doing a lot of the intros in the beginning. You haven't got into the teachings anyways, and so there's a lot going on. There's the engagement, there's the interaction. Sorry, one of the things I didn't mention at the beginning is check to see that people can hear you, okay, and people can see you, because it is possible that you can be going on and they wouldn't know. Okay. Another thing is relax. I want to encourage you to practice your material. Practice your material. Practice. This is crucial. Now, this is important stuff. In fact, I'm going to take off my glasses here. Really. This is crucial and this is important. You want to focus on adding value during the webinar. You don't want to focus on getting it right. Now, the thing is this is how it works, and this is presentation skills 101. Some of you who do know that I have a background in training presentation skills and speaking skills. I don't do a lot of that these days. I will be doing a lot more because of the direction my business is going in the future, but I don't do a lot of it. One of the things I do say is this, and this is really crucial. When you are presenting, you don't want to be thinking, oh my goodness, did I say that right? Have I got that right? That means you haven't practiced. You want to practice so hard and so well that when you're there, your focus is them. Your focus is not the material. You know your material inside out. You've practiced it over and over and over again. You've played it, you've replayed it, you've practiced it. Now, practice is not playing it in your head. It's standing up and doing it, or in the case of a webinar, it's sitting down and practicing the webinar. Practicing, hi, how you doing? I hope you're really good. I hope you're having a good time. And there's nobody there. Get your cat or your friend or your cousin, your sister to sit down and watch you do this on their computer. So go and create a, what's it called? Go and, I don't know the language they use in Webinar Jam now. Clone, yeah. Go and clone your webinar. Clone your webinar and get a friend or family member to register for your cloned webinar, and then host a live one and practice doing it. Practice running your webinar, practice running through the program, okay? Just practice it like you really are, like it's live. Get comfortable with the flow, get comfortable with everything, so that during the session, you're not focused on getting it right. You're not thinking, did that sound right? But did that sound right should not happen when you're doing a live session. It should happen when you're doing a practice session. And I really want to challenge us here, because the thing is, if you're not relaxed, it comes across. And if it comes across, it has an impact on your sales. Right? Right? Do you get that? So I'll say that again. Okay? If you're not relaxed, it comes across that you're not confident. And remember, you want to be recognized as a credible authority. Authority is usually confident in what they're saying. So if you're it's having an impact. right? Do the ums and uhs in your practice. When you're doing the thing, be so relaxed that you know that if they wake you up at 2 a.m. to come and do this webinar, you'll do it without even batting an eyelid. That's how much preparation you want to do. Preparation is key. Preparation is key. I probably haven't mentioned this a lot in a lot of the trainings I've been doing. I'm kind of taking it for granted that people would do that, but I realize a lot of people don't. They just want to show up and do it. No, it would impact on your confidence. You won't be relaxed if you don't practice and rehearse and prepare. It would impact on how you feel, which would impact on how you come across, which would impact on how they receive your message, which would impact on the number of sales you're going to make at the end of the day. Okay, so practice. Once you practice and you're confident and relaxed, you can focus on them, not on yourself. The thing is, when you haven't practiced, you're thinking, I hope I don't forget what comes next. What's this? But when you have practice, you're focused on making sure they get value. So you're speaking to them. You're not thinking in your head about the content. You're focused on communication rather than content. Okay, so I hope this is a useful one. Another thing is conducting a poll. If you can conduct a poll at the beginning, a poll is a very good way to engage. So asking certain questions, just say, so how many of you here have, how do you clone a webinar? Good question. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you. Just going to show you right now. So let me see. Let me share my screen. And let's clone a webinar. So you go to your webinars, my webinars, and these are the webinars. So this is the webinar that I set up for this group. Okay. So if I come here to actions, and there we go, clone. So clone, proceed. Now this webinar has been cloned. So what I want to change really here, the only thing I want to change is the date. Right, so I go to general and I can change the date to either right now or I schedule it for a date different from the date of this webinar. So let's schedule this one, for example, theoretically for tomorrow. Okay, so schedule this for 10 a.m. tomorrow, save the module, okay, publish webinar, publish the webinar, and there we go. The webinar has been created. So this is the cloned one for tomorrow, 12 February. If I click get your links, this is the webinar registration link. Go here. And this is the new webinar, which is a clone of this one, which is now scheduled for the 12th of February, as you can see. So that's how you clone a webinar. Hope that helps. Great stuff. So that is how you clone a webinar. Okay. So if you can create a poll as well, where you can just ask them questions and creating a poll that's all in the webinar setup there, and you can just, as you go through the process, there's an option for you to create a poll. It just helps to create more engagement. Okay, now key thing is follow-up emails. Key thing is what? It's follow-up emails. Now, let's go and look at follow-up emails, and I'll just share a few things with us because follow-up emails is a very crucial part of this process. The fortune, they say, is in the follow-up. A lot of the people who are going to be joining your program, and I'll just use this one I just created to help us understand the follow-up email side of things. Now, when you go to edit your webinar and you go down to, I believe it's notifications, yes. So notifications, am I sharing my screen? Guess what? I'm not sharing my screen. It just dawned on me that I thought I was sharing my screen. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, entire screen, share. So I'll need to go through that all over again because I thought I was sharing my screen. So let's go back to my webinars. So you go to Webinar Jam, my webinars, action, and it would be edit. And it's notifications. You then go to notifications, and this is where you send out the welcome emails and things like that. So the welcome email is the email saying you've registered. So this is, you put in the subject line, you could just say congratulations, put put in their name, and this is the attendee name. So congratulations, copy, congratulations, put in their name. You are registered. Then don't forget, obviously, to do this, your name and surname and your email address so that the emails come from you. Okay, so this is the email that goes out to them straight away. I don't really do too much to edit that one. Then this is the last minute email. We're about to start email, which is already there, and that's fine. I don't change that. But you want to queue up some more pre-webinar notifications. So send one maybe 24 hours before, or no, do one if it's 9 p.m. webinar. I like to do one 13 hours before, so one at 8 o'clock in the morning. So one 13 hours before, queue another. So this is one that's 4 hours before, which is good. So you've got two, which we've got that day. I think that's fine. If you're setting up the webinar maybe a week before, then you want to send another webinar that would go out. Obviously, you want to edit the webinars, so you don't want that to go. So you queue them up, you edit them, but you want to send out a few pre-webinar emails. So send another one that goes out 48 hours before. Again, put in the subject line. So see you in 2 days, for example. So see you in 2 days, that's very good. And then you can put in their name as well. See you in 2 days and put in their name, and then change the there to their name. Okay, so it's their name rather than hello there. And again, you can then put in a little bit of text and just quickly remind them what you're going to be sharing during the webinar. So you can share that as well. Kind regards, and that's all set up. Now that's fine. But you also want to do the post-webinar ones. Now, so this is a webinar replay that goes out 4 hours after the webinar. Now, this is where I want us to be a little bit more tactical, okay? So for those who attended the webinar, they are aware of the offer. For those who did not attend the webinar, they're not aware of the offer. And this is where you're going to be a little tactical here, right? So for those, here's the webinar. I would add to that, you missed the webinar. Here's the replay, okay? And this would go out not to all registrants, but to those who did not attend, okay? Can you see that? So this goes out to those who did not attend 4 hours after the webinar. But I'm gonna do, and what I'll do is I'll do another one, which would go out let's say 24 hours after the webinar, and saying, have you watched this yet? Okay, something like that. And again, putting a little bit of text here, just talking about what people who attended said about the webinar, and some of the testimonials from the webinar. I'll share those here as well. So replace that, and then again, this would go out to send this to those who did not attend. Then queue another post webinar, and this one would be to those who attended. Send this email. It could be 12 hours after the webinar, and basically saying, did you get this ? Okay, and then not in case you missed the webinar, because they did attend it. So the copy will be slightly different here. Here you will talk about, I hope you got great value from the webinar, but why didn't you take up the offer? In case you missed out on the offer, here's the link for you to get the offer at that special discount. Or if you do have any questions about this, if you want to do this but you have any questions, simply reply to this email letting me know what your questions are, so we can get your questions answered and get you started on the program if it's the right thing for you. Meanwhile, here's the link to the replay, so so you can watch the webinar again. Okay, and this would go to those who attended the webinar. And So can you see that? So you split the emails that go out to who? Particular webinar, emails for those who didn't attend, and then emails for those who did attend. And then you have another email that would go out 72 hours after the webinar, which would be last chance to watch and claim special offer. Okay. And this is basically where this is one you send out to everybody. And with this email, again, you talk about the webinar itself and how it's really great. If they haven't watched the replay, they need to watch it now, because this is the last time you're going to be sending this email to them. And also, if you did attend and you missed out on the offer, make sure you go there right now to claim it, okay? Because you don't want to miss out, okay? And actually, you know what? Yeah, so make sure you go ahead to the webinar replay page and claim the offer now. And so by doing it that way, you set things up and they can go ahead. They can, it's what will happen is some people are going to take advantage of this. And if you don't send this email, you'll be leaving money on the table. This one will go to everybody. You've done that, and then you click Save Module, and it's all set up. So once they're registered, the email system in Webinar Jam kicks in. This is why I said we need to get Webinar Jam using the link that I shared. So I shared a link showing you how to get Webinar Jam for $1 for 30 days or so. If you missed out on that, just let me know and I'll share it with you in the group. Okay, so let's stop sharing now. Let me see, are there any other questions? Okay. Because of webinar replays, some tend to log in late because they're like, I can watch it later. What's the way to get people to attend live? Because psychologically, it's good to have loads of people attend one webinar. I do agree. That is a good question. Now, what I recommend is, this is a tip, is, again, the follow-up emails. This is it. When people register, let them, one of the emails you can send out is, I'm going to be giving something very special away that is worth at least a couple, whatever it is. And I'm going to be giving away for to those who show up on time. So not just showing up, but for those who show up in the first 5 minutes are going to get this very special gift from me. And it could be anything. It could be a free report. It could be a free audio, a free training that you've done. I want to reward timeliness. And so for those who, don't miss out, show up on time. Don't miss out on my special gift. So it's that's a simple tactic that could radically deal with that. Right. Okay. Tunji said, do you have to do that for each person? Please let me know what that is. If you're more specific, then I'll try to answer that question. Okay, great stuff. So we've covered a fair bit here. This is where I want to answer specific questions. So if you do have specific questions right now, just ask away, and I want to answer every single question before we get out of here. Any questions you have about anything that we may or may not have covered, please ask, and let's address them. Okay. Okay. All right. Nothing new's come through. I'm waiting, so just keep your messages coming. Just type here, any more questions? Okay, please keep your questions coming. Anything that you may want us to cover. I know this has been a long one and some of us are exhausted, and I appreciate that. But I really want to ensure that we get massive, massive value here. Okay, I know there were a few questions about technical things like pages. Regarding notification, which notification? Sorry, I'm still not sure what you mean. What notification? If you could be more, if you could be a little clearer. This is where I wish you had audio, because if you did have audio, value. Okay. Okay. Can I just say something? Please do me a favor. If you can ask because I said a lot of things about value. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. So if you could relate it to a particular situation, it's the same thing. The notification, I don't know what notification you're talking about. I just need us to put it in context so I can know what we really want and I can get your questions answered, please. So if you can explain the context. I've said a lot. I'm sure I've said value a few times, but if you can be specific about where I said it, and also the notification. I don't know what notification you mean, so I can't answer the question, and I'd really love to. So once you've, if you can just expand on those questions, that would be great, and we'll get them answered. Wow. I really want to answer any question you may have right now. Think about any part of this process where you think you may be stuck or you may get stuck. And let me go back, because I know there were a few questions. Okay. How to set up now. I'll talk about the payments because the payments are important. PayPal is a very simple way to take payments, and maybe I should show us how to do that. Let me just log into PayPal and see if I can share my screen, if it's not going to show sensitive information that I can't share. As long as it doesn't, I wouldn't have a problem sharing my screen with you. Everything we do, and whatever take. Sorry, I'm singing. All right. Okay. Let me see. Okay, if you log into PayPal, and you go to buttons, sorry. Let me just share this link with us. The only thing is I have a feeling this link might break, you see. I'm going to share this link with us here, and I'll share it in the group as well. Okay, yeah, there we go. If that link isn't broken, that link, if you click on that link, it will take you to PayPal, okay? And it will take you to buttons, right? If you don't have any buttons, that's fine. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start from scratch. So I'm going to share my screen. That's the link that's going to get you to this page. Now I'm going to share my screen with you and show you how to do this. All right, so great stuff. So this is PayPal. And these are just different buttons that I've created for different things. A lot of my payments I don't process through PayPal, but I'm going to show you how to do this. You click on Create New Button, okay? So you click on Create New Button. So shopping, choose a button type. Usually it would just be a buy now type of button, okay? Item name. So call it whatever the name of your program. So let's say the program is set up for flight career acceleration program. Price. This is, you can, so whatever currency, mine is going to be in British pounds. So let's say we say 97 pounds. Okay. Postage, I'm not doing any postage. Track inventory, I'm not doing any of that. Now, another tip, yes, because it might be a good idea for you to offer a trial. Trials are very good sometimes because people can join and people can join and they're not making that big financial commitment yet. They're making a commitment, but they're not making it yet. So let's say you're running your webinar on the 15th of the month, for example. You can basically say, hey, you know what? You get 2 weeks trial. So you're paying at the end of the month when your wages have come in, for example. So to do that, you go to, I believe it's custom advanced features. I think I need to look for this one. Okay, maybe it's not that. Now another one is take customers to this URL when they finish checkout. So if you want to create, you know, like a thank you page on your website, this is where you would then send them to the thank you page after they have made the payments. So it could be a thank you page with a link for them to join the Facebook group that you have created. That's one way to do that. There is a way you can offer, no, that's for subscriptions. Sorry, you can't offer trials. You can only offer trials for subscriptions. I do apologize, using PayPal. So that is another option that you can offer as well. So you can choose to offer subscription. So for example, offer a subscription and call it whatever you want to call it. Set up for flight. And GBP, billing amount each cycle. Let's say you can say it could be maybe 47, whatever it is you're charging. So £47 billing cycle for maybe 2 months. Okay. After how many? So billing cycle is 1 month. And after how many cycles? 2. That means it would charge them £47 twice. I want to offer a trial period, an amount for the trial period, and it could be maybe £1. Okay, so it's £1 for the trial period. And how long is the trial period? We can then say maybe two weeks. There we go. Not 2 days, but 2 weeks. All right, so you set that up. Advanced features, take customer to this URL when they finish. So you put a thank you page for your website, and then we're not doing that, so there's no page, but if there is, you'll do that. Then you click on create button. So just click on create button. You've created the button. Now what you do is go to the email link. Now this link here is what you're now going to share, and you share this, and you know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take you through that whole process here. This is technical stuff. I wanted to stay away from technical stuff, but I realize it might be useful for some of us. Is you now take this here, copy. So copy this, right? And there's 2 ways you can use this. And the problem is if I share this, it's just going to it's not going to work here. So let me show you how to do it in Webinar Jam. Okay. So you come to Webinar Jam, you now take that link. Now, that link is the link that when they click on it, it will take them to PayPal and charge them. So you now go to live, click on live here, click on live, and then prefigure your webinar offers. You can then go here. So offer name, I can say set up for flight. Offer title, which is the headline, and I can say pre-register for set up for flight. Message above, and I can say pay only £1 now and 2 small payments of £47. And the message would be get started, and then offer link is that link I copied and I put it here, and then open in a new browser window. Okay, and then click save, and there we are. Now there we are. It's done. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. And so during the webinar, you can now share this particular one. There's a lot more training around this in Webinar Jam. I don't want to spend too much time with technical stuff that you can learn there, but I just felt to share this with us since we're live here anyways. Okay, so once you do that, we're good to go. Now, I'm going to sign out of PayPal, and I'll share. So basically, when you now come and you put that link in here, this is what happens. There we go, £1 for the first 2 weeks, then £47 for each month for 2 installments, and that's it, set up for flight. That's the description, and then they just go ahead and they complete the payment. So it's very, very straightforward. I hope this has helped some of us. Okay. Okay, all right, brilliant. So I hope that's useful. Let me just go back and answer some of the questions that have been coming. Skincare is a bit psychological. I found it difficult to use percentages to say what difference I can make with people suffering from acne, which is fair enough. What can you say that is acceptable? You know, so don't use percentages. I think use the case of, see the beautiful you emerge and get rid of all those, the thing that would appeal to them. Say, do you find yourself, you don't get rid of all the spots and see the real you, the beautiful you emerge, and talk to what can be, what they can connect with without using, don't make any promises that are unrealistic, that can't work, because I do agree with you. Don't use those sort of numbers. You can say I have 30%, you can use numbers that have worked for you, but don't say it's going to work for them when it comes to skincare, because there's usually a lot more to it than that. But there's still ways you can present very powerful stuff without making claims that could get you into trouble. Okay, so I hope that helps. Okay, it was in regards to sending out the congrats email to those registered. No, it goes out to everybody. That's automated. Once you've set it up in the system, as soon as they register for the webinar, it goes out to them. That's all automated. That's all done for you. Okay, thanks. Now I understand what you meant. Is there a way I can make a call out that would protect my integrity? I don't want to say things. Yes, funny enough, I've just answered that question. You don't need to. You've got to be, so you can say, do you want to capture that beautiful you? Do you want to get, do you not like do you feel like you want to? So you can say that sort of thing without using numbers and percentages and guarantees. Show you how you can, bring out the real you and bring out that glow in your skin and that kind of thing. And there's ways you can educate people and talk about skin. And skin is like, because skin is really like leather, isn't it? It is like leather. It's not nice, but that's true. And you want to, when you polish your shoes, when you look after your shoes and you polish your shoes, they look better. And it's the same thing with our skin. Now, how do you polish your skin? So that's an analogy you can use. And I will show you how to bring, the quality of leather is the quality of leather, but there's what you can do to that leather to bring out the best of it. And so in essence, it's how can we bring out the best of your skin? That's what we should be looking at. So that's the kind of way you can communicate that kind of thing with me. I hope that helps you without going in and making claims which would get you into trouble. Okay, the more value you share here. Okay, I was talking about during the training sessions. The good thing is you can go back and you can look at that. The more value you share, the more likely they are later on to buy, and that's it. That's basically, you've literally written down what I said. The more value you share when you're doing the training element, the more likely they are to buy from you later on. That's just it. So you've answered. You've literally captured it. I don't need to add to that. Okay. All right, now, we've literally gone through, I'm looking to recap, and I'm trying to think how I can recap everything that I've covered. It's practically impossible. I wished I could, but it was a massive amount. I don't even know where to start. It basically was how to structure the webinar, which is the structure, the flow, how you work through it, and I worked through how to structure your webinar. I also talked about your offer, how to, so for some people who are struggling with what do I offer, I went through how to structure your offer, which really should be what you train. Really, the solution you provide is what you expand on into an offer. So for example, like in Margaret's case, right, she's doing an audio series. So for example, if she highlights 4 key things, she takes each of those 4 key things and translate them into maybe a 45 to 60-minute audio. So that's basically it. It's take what you teach and expand it, break it down into easier to follow steps. So that's how you create the content. And then planning and promoting it, it's just send out emails, send out text messages, send out private messages via social media, use WhatsApp, try to look at doing 2 webinars, and then practice like crazy. Practice, practice, practice. Awesome. Okay, any other questions just before we go? Let me go back and see if there were any other questions that I haven't answered from previously. Okay, William asked a question about getting a landing page. I think, to be honest with you, for the webinar, you don't really need a landing page, because with Webinar Jam, it creates a landing page for you. You would only need that sort of stuff for when you are creating your content. And I'll be honest with you, when I did the very first time I did this sort of exercise, I had a website and I didn't have a membership system in place. Okay, who didn't have a membership system in place, and so people had already paid me before I went to look for a solution that could work for me. At the time, I used something called Kajabi, which I wouldn't recommend now. But again, I won't say don't use it. It's $100 a month. But I got Kajabi because I had people who would pay me money and I needed to deliver. So I used Kajabi for a few months before I moved to something else. So there's lots of solutions out there. And we'll talk about a few. I'll talk about the ones that I would recommend depending on where you are, which will be a better fit for you, something that you can run with that will be easy to implement and easy to follow. So just give me a moment and I'll look at what I can recommend that you could use with that. What we'll do is you and I would find some time, probably. Well, we'll find some time, just touch base with me, and we'll work on your message together. Something that would definitely work for your audience. I think I'll find some time to sit down with you, and we can work on that. Yeah, so let's do that. Okay, ladies and gents, I think I've covered everything. But the crucial thing is this: set your dates for your webinars. Set your dates for your webinars, guys. I'm not teaching you theory here. We're executing. I need to see dates for your webinars. I need us to take action. Let's follow through with this. Let's take massive action right now, and let's get some great results. Let's get some great results, folks. I'm looking forward to that with us. Awesome, and thanks a million. Thank you very much. How has this been for you? How has this session been for you? It's been 2 hours of me talking, but I hope it's been very, very useful for you. Please let me know how or if it has been useful for you. Okay, let me just check. Okay, nothing's come through yet. Anyways, you can leave your comments in the group. I'd really appreciate to hear from you to see if this long marathon type session, if you found it really useful for you and your business, just go ahead to our exclusive group, not the coaches group. Remember, it's the mentoring group, and just let me know how useful you found this, if this was useful for you, because I feel that we might be doing these every now and again to really just help us, move forward. So if you can do that, that would be absolutely awesome. So looking forward to hearing from you folks. All right, God bless, and we shall speak later.